Hey guys, Brian Fisher with Edge Fitness. How's your day going? Hopefully it is a great day. Want to give you just a brief history lesson to help out with your mindset for today. Okay? Maybe you're a big cycling fan, maybe you're not. International cycling, obviously for some people the name Lance Armstrong is going to come to mind, but we're not going there. We're going positive mindset, positive direction here. Back in 2003, the British International Cycling Team hired a gentleman by the name of Dave Brailsford. Why did they hire him? They hired him as his performance director. This is kind of a story that comes from, or first came across it in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Awesome, awesome, phenomenal book. If you haven't read it, get it, read it, reread it again, take copious notes. You're going to love that book. The premises is just awesome. So Atomic Habits, James Clear, he goes over this story. We're going to share an article kind of as an excerpt from that book as well. It kind of goes over some of what we're talking about here for the story of Dave Brailsford and the British cycling team. When they hired him, British cycling team was kind of the laughing stock of international cycling. They had gone since 1908. They only won one gold medal. Okay, one since 1908. So Cubs fans, you might be able to relate to kind of how that might feel, but this is the whole country behind one of their international teams. And over there, cycling is a lot bigger deal than it is for us here. And in 110 years prior, from him being hired in 2003, they had not won a single Tour de France. That's the biggest race in international cycling, kind of outside of the Olympics. They hadn't won a single title. There were actually manufacturers that refused to sell their bikes to the British cycling team because they were afraid it would hurt their sales if other teams saw those riders on their bikes. Okay? That says a lot for kind of where they're at. So step back for a second from that perspective to kind of the personal of, hey, how's your life going? Are you where you want to be? Are you looking at making some changes? How's your mindset when it comes to doing that? Oftentimes we think that massive success has to involve massive action. There has to be something really big, an all or nothing kind of response. Not the case, right? When we look at what happened for that example of the British team, why did they hire Brailsford? One of the things that separated him from all the other options out there was he had a relentless pursuit of what he called the aggregation of marginal gains. Right? Maybe you've heard that term before, but it comes from kind of why we say a little better each day. If you can get a little better each day, that adds up. This aggregation of marginal gains was his idea of making tiny improvements in everything that you do. Right? All that you do, making little tiny improvements. Then you put all those together, small habits lead to big change. You put all those things together, those tiny 1% improvements, and you see some pretty massive change. How massive was really shown by just how quickly he took teams, that British team, from where they were in 2003 to 2008. They go into the Olympics and they won 60% of the available gold medals in those Olympics. Fast forward 4 years later, 2012, they set 9 Olympic and 7 world records. This was a team that back in 2003 was the laughing stock of international cycling, basically, okay? Towards the bottom. Remember, manufacturers wouldn't even sell their bikes to them. They made improvements in their training, they made improvements in their equipment and their gear and all kind of the major areas that you would expect if someone came in and said, hey guys, we got to change things up a little bit. They changed their seats, they changed what they wore when they were riding, they looked at the type of gels that they used during massage to see which one helped them to recover fastest. But they went beyond that to look at everything. Remember, tiny improvements in all they could do. They looked at they brought in a surgeon to teach them how to wash their hands properly so they could avoid being sick as much. They had them paint the inside of the vans that they traveled with the bikes in to be able to see all the different little dirt and dust that might get into their bikes. Those are finely tuned machines. They want to make sure that they were running as optimally and as efficiently as they could. They changed gear on the bikes, gear on the riders, all these different things to see how much improvement they could get out of it. And again, in 2008, dominated the Olympics. 2012, they dominated the Olympics. That same year, they won their first Tour de France title. And then from 2012 to 2017, they won 5 out of 6 titles Again, they've gone 110 years without winning a single one. Now they've won 5 out of 6. So from '07 to 17, they had one of most people in international cycling considered the most dominant, successful run in history, where they actually set or won 178 world championships. They had 66 Olympic or Paralympic gold medals and those 5 Tour de France titles. That's huge improvement. And it wasn't just from one big, massive change. They didn't bring in the biggest free agents for international cycling and stack their team like a lot of pro sports will do here. They just developed their team. They changed it from the ground up in any and every little thing that they could change. So when we look at making our own massive change, we can think of, hey, can I be a little bit better today? Or a little bit worse? Is that really going to make a big deal? At that time, at that moment, probably not. If you make a decision that is 1% better, if you did 1% more steps today, if you got 1% more sleep today, if you went to bed earlier by 1% or later by 1%, if you ate 1% fewer calories, 1% more protein, 1% more calories, 1% less protein, that day, that moment, not going to make that big of a deal. But if you keep doing that over time, that adds up. Small habits equal big change. That can either work for you. Imagine making 1% better choices every day for a whole year. At the end of the year, you would end up almost 38% better than when you started. Think of that in terms of weight loss, fat loss. Think of that in terms of strength gains. Think of that in terms of financial improvement. Think of that in terms of, hey, I went to the gym 38% more than I did last year by doing one thing better, 1% better each day in terms of your planning, your preparation. You scheduled it in, you got other people involved. Huge thing that we're going to be really getting after for you guys at the end of this weekend, especially into next week. So please stay tuned for that. Little teaser there. So make sure that as you think about these things, 1% better at that time, okay? Not a big deal at that time, but over the course of that year, 10 years, 20 years, 38% better after 1 year of doing 1% better. And that can be all across the board. You're adding those changes up, okay? Or you can get 1% worse every single day in all these different areas. You can end up getting almost down to 0% of what you want to accomplish. Huge thing there, but it's that huge effect isn't seen until it is over time. So if you're sitting at a point where, hey, you're maybe a little bit overweight, you're just out of shape, whatever you're thinking about where you want to go on your journey, what's gotten you there? Look back over those small, tiny decisions that you have made that have added up over the course of that time to get you to where you are. Now we're just looking at taking that same process, but working it in your favor. So mindset is a huge thing. If you have that mindset that has to be, again, just massive effort, that has to be all or nothing, you got to come down away from that and think, I'm just going to do one thing to be 1% better today with my movement, with my nutrition, with my recovery, my mindset. Okay? There's so many different things in there. 1% better of eating whole foods, 1% better of portion control, 1% better gratitude journaling. So many ways that you can get better within this. 1% better of going to bed earlier, 1% better on an AM or PM routine, 1% better in getting others involved again. Working into those changes. Small habits equal big change. You are what you repeat. You can repeat those small changes. You can't repeat that massive effort day after day. It just doesn't last. That's why a lot of programs are only, 6-10 weeks ultimately, and then, oh yeah, you can do it again. Well, you can't always do it again with the same results. You've got to do something that is sustainable, 1% better each day. Take a step, take another step, 1%, even just one small little step moving in that right direction is going to get you to where you want to go, because again, you are what you repeat. You can sustain those tiny efforts. Yeah, there's going to be times where you can make bigger jumps, and nothing wrong with that. That's great. But ultimately, how long can you keep doing that? The bigger the jump, the harder the effort it is. And discipline and willpower only last for so long. That mindset has probably gotten a lot of people to say, you know what, I'm going to try it, but I'm going to fail anyway, so what's the point? New Year's resolutions, right? If it's something small that you can really just take your time and chip away at, we've got people here that have lost 50, 60 pounds and kept it off, and they'll say, I don't know how I did it. They've done it by making small changes over time that they can stick with. Some of them were life changes, addition by subtraction, awesome, great, but they kept up with their other good habits and made some better choices and continue to make those as they're going on. So hopefully this is a helpful thing for you guys to start to think that, you know, I only have to get 1% better today, and then do it again tomorrow, and then do it again tomorrow. And you're gonna have some days where you get maybe 1% worse, another day you're gonna get 5% better, then you're gonna get 10% worse, then you're gonna get another 1% better. You're gonna end up ahead because you can sustain that again. That's that long run, that's that game that will help you to go from, you know, maybe where you are to where the British team was to that dominant stretch where they were. Now, are they still the most dominant team in cycling? Not the most dominant, but they're up in the mix. They have people that are always in contention. They're a respectable team now. Betting if they call up a bike manufacturer and say, hey, we'd be interested in using your bikes. Sure, let's try it out. Versus, no, we're not going to sell to you guys because it'd be too embarrassing and hurt our sales. All right? Don't think of your life as being that way. And maybe if you do, wherever you're at, we would love to help you out. If this video has been helpful, awesome, great. Don't forget to subscribe and share. It's just one small way that we can help you and your friends and family keep taking those next steps on your health and fitness journey. There's plenty of other ways. If we can help you out with that, leave a comment, hit us up on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, email info@edgefitia.com. We'd love to help you guys out and keep taking those journeys. So go out, make today 1% better, make it a great day by doing that 1%. We'll see you next time.